Welcome, Giants. I'm your host, Lois Wyant, and today we're going to talk about something that has become one of the most important assets a local business can own. And surprisingly, it's not your website. Let's find out what it is.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
Now, before anyone panics and thinks I'm saying websites don't matter anymore, that's not what I'm saying. Not at all. Websites absolutely still matter. They help establish credibility, they help with SEO, they help with educating prospects, and they often play a critical role in converting visitors into customers. But if you're a local business owner, there's one online asset that almost every customer looks at before they ever call you, fill out a form, or walk through your door. That asset is your Google Business Profile. Today, I want to talk to you about why Google Business Profiles have become so important, why customer behavior has changed dramatically over the last just couple of years, and how AI is changing local search and what local businesses can do right now to position themselves for more leads, more calls, and more customers. Before we jump into that, let me tell you a little bit about how I got here. I've been fascinated by businesses and marketing for most of my life. In high school, I actually joined a cake decorating club. It seemed innocent enough until my mother volunteered me to make a wedding cake for one of her friends. Now, if you've ever made a wedding cake, you know that's a little intimidating when you're just getting started. But that one wedding cake led to another cake, led to another wedding cake, and before long, I had a real business. A little cake decorating business actually paid for my college education. So while I was in college, I had this grand vision of opening a bridal shop. For some reason, I had my sights on Georgia, even though I was living in Indiana at the time. Part of preparing for that dream involved learning wedding photography. I found a local photographer who agreed to let me work as his assistant, and within 4 months of assisting him, he actually trusted me enough to photograph a wedding on my own. He bought me a complete photography setup, and I photographed my first wedding that October. Now, the couple knew that I was a newbie. They knew I was still learning, but they loved the photographs. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. I ended up marrying that photographer, and many years and 3 children later, here we are. Throughout those years, I handled the marketing side of the photography business. We were one of the first studios in our area or in the country to have a website, one of the first to use email marketing, one of the first to embrace social media. And back then, learning marketing wasn't as simple as watching a YouTube video. You had to attend seminars, you had to travel, you had to invest time and money into understanding what was changing. One of my favorite seminars was a 3-day seminar in Las Vegas with Tom Hopkins. It was really great. I remember when we bought our first digital camera. That camera was $25,000. Today, your smartphone takes better photos than that camera did. But here's the lesson. Every major technology shift creates winners and losers. The businesses that adapt thrive. The businesses that ignore change struggle. I've watched businesses move from newspaper ads to websites, from websites to social media, from desktop searches to mobile searches. And now we're experiencing another shift. AI is changing how customers find businesses. And if local business owners don't understand what's happening, they're going to miss this incredible opportunity. So let's talk about why your Google Business Profile matters so much. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear from business owners is, isn't that just SEO? Or isn't this just another marketing tactic? No, this is much bigger than that. Your Google business profile is often the first impression people have of your business. Think about your own behavior. When was the last time you searched for a restaurant or like a plumber? Did you immediately visit their website? Probably not. You looked at their Google listing, you checked their reviews, looked at their photos, looked for their hours, you looked at how professional they appear, and then you made a decision. That's exactly what your customers are doing. Research shows that approximately 95% of customers will check your Google business profile before doing any business with you. Okay, let that sink in for a minute. 95%. That's why I often tell business owners that their Google business profile is every bit as important as their website. In some cases, it's even more important. Now, here's another thing that many people don't realize. Your Google business profile amplifies every other marketing effort you do. Maybe you're running Google ads. Maybe you're running Facebook ads. Maybe you're doing direct mail. Maybe you're networking. Maybe you're sponsoring community events. Maybe you're posting on social media. All of those activities create awareness. But after people become aware of you, what do? They Google you. And where do they land? Your Google business profile. Every marketing channel ultimately points back to trust, and your Google business profile is one of the primary places customers determine whether they trust you enough to take the next step. That's why optimizing it properly can dramatically increase the return on investments from all of your other marketing efforts. Now, let's talk about what has changed, because understanding the shift is critical. When Google launched in 1998, search was pretty straightforward. You typed in search query, Google showed you 10 blue links, you clicked a website, simple. But Google has changed dramatically over the years. Today, Google doesn't necessarily want to send people to your website. Google wants to keep users inside Google as long as possible. This has led to what we call zero-click searches. A zero-click search happens when someone searches on Google and gets the information they need without ever clicking a website. All right, think about that. When you search for weather, Google gives you the weather. You don't need to visit a weather website. Think about when you search for a business phone number. Google gives you the phone number. No website required. Google has spent years building an ecosystem where users find answers, read reviews, view photos, ask questions, and even contact businesses without leaving Google. And from Google's perspective, that makes perfect sense. The longer people stay on Google, the more opportunities Google has to show ads and generate revenue. Now, some people get upset about this, but fighting Google is not a strategy. Understanding Google is. All right, now Google isn't rewarding businesses that provide complete, trustworthy, engaging information directly within their platform. That's where Google business profiles come in. Now let's dig a little deeper into what this means for local businesses. One of the biggest changes we've seen over the last several years is the rise of local search. Today, roughly 46% of all Google searches have local intent. That means nearly half of all searches are people looking for businesses, services, or solutions in a specific area. Even more interesting is the growth of near me searches. People aren't searching HVAC company anymore. They're searching HVAC company near me, best plumber near me, coffee shop near me. And these searchers are often ready to buy. Research shows that many local searches result in a purchase or a contact within 24 hours. These are not people casually browsing. They are people looking for a solution right now. Think about your own behavior. If your air conditioner stops working in the middle of July, you're not researching HVAC companies for 6 months. You're looking for someone who can solve your problem today. This creates an incredible opportunity for local businesses, but it also creates a challenge because the way customers evaluate businesses has changed. Years ago, a customer might have clicked through multiple websites. They would read pages of content, compare services, look through portfolios. Today, many customers make decisions before they ever visit the website. That's where zero-click searches come into play. Today, a large percentage of searches end without a website click. Instead, people stay inside Google. They look at reviews, they browse photos, they check business hours, they read questions and answers, they compare businesses side by side, and they make a decision. In many cases, customers call directly from the Google business profile, or request directions, or click a message button, or visit the business without ever visiting a website. This means something important. Your Google business profile isn't just directly listing anymore. It's becoming your digital storefront. It's your first impression. It's your reputation center. It's your trust building platform. And increasingly, it's your primary lead generation tool. Now, let's take this one step further, because as significant as zero-click searches are, AI search is creating an even bigger shift. Google has invested heavily in artificial intelligence. You've seen AI-generated answers appearing at the top of search results. Instead of showing a list of websites, Google increasingly provides direct answers. All those answers are built using information gathered from multiple sources across the internet. One of those sources is your Google business profile. All right, now think about it for a moment. Google is no longer just ranking websites. Google is building a knowledge base. The goal is no longer simply to rank. The goal is to become a trusted source that Google's AI recognizes and recommends. This is a completely different way of thinking about visibility. In the past, businesses focused primarily on rankings. Today, businesses need to focus on trust signals like reviews, every photo, every update, every post, every service description, every interaction. All of those become signals that help Google understand who you are and whether you deserve to be recommended. The businesses that understand this shift early are going to have a tremendous advantage because while many competitors are still chasing old SEO tactics, smart businesses are building authority directly within Google's ecosystem. Now, I want to share something that might surprise you. One of the biggest myths in local marketing is that you must rank number one to win. I hear this all the time. If I could just rank number one. But here's what I've observed over and over again. Customers don't always choose the highest ranking business. They choose the business they trust the most. Now, let me tell you a quick story. One evening, my husband and I came home and discovered our air conditioning wasn't working. Now, if you spent summer in North Carolina, you know that's not something you want to put off. So I pulled out my phone, searched for an HVAC company. Like most people, I looked at the businesses that appeared on Google. I didn't visit any websites. I didn't do any extensive research. I simply compared the Google business profiles. One company immediately stood out. Their photos looked professional. Their reviews were strong. The responses were very thoughtful. Their services were explained clearly. They had a frequently asked question. They looked trustworthy, and that's who I call. Not because they ranked first, but because they inspired confidence. That's when it hit me. I do this all the time. when I'm looking for a restaurant or any type of local service. I make decisions inside Google, and your customers do too. This realization changed how I approach local marketing. Instead of focusing only on rankings, I started focusing on trust because trust is what converts visitors into customers. Trust is what generates phone calls. Trust is what creates appointments. Trust is what drives revenue. And trust is something that every business can improve. Now, let's talk about why many businesses struggle despite having a Google business profile. There are three major reasons. The first is that they rely too heavily on passive lead generation. Many business owners build their companies on referrals, and referrals are wonderful. They're often the highest quality leads you'll ever receive. When someone says, "My friend recommended you," that's powerful. But referrals aren't always predictable. Some months they flow steadily, other months they slow down. And when they slow down, many business owners panic. That's when they start buying random marketing services or spend money on ads. They try the latest marketing trend, or you might even see that they're flooding their social media with video. But often they overlook the asset that's already sitting right in front of them, their Google business profile. The second reason businesses struggle is they don't understand today's buyer journey. The best marketing companies in the world understand that customers move in three stages: awareness, consideration, decision. Awareness happens when someone first realizes they have a problem or discovers your business. Maybe they saw your advertisement. Maybe they met you at a network event. Maybe someone referred them. Maybe they saw one of your social media posts. Then comes consideration. That is where they begin evaluating options. They start researching. They start comparing businesses. They read reviews. They look at photos. They determine whether they trust you. Finally comes the decision stage. This is where they choose who gets their business. And where does most of this evaluation happen today? Google. That's why your Google business profile has become such a critical part of the buyer journey. It helps prospects move from awareness to trust, ultimately to a buying decision. The third reason businesses struggle is positioning. Many businesses sound exactly like every competitor in their market. They all claim great service, they all claim quality work, they all claim customer satisfaction. The challenge is that customers hear those same messages everywhere. Businesses that stand out communicate value differently. They explain why they're different, why they're better, why they're uniquely qualified to solve a specific problem. When your Google business profile, website reviews, and marketing all reinforce that positioning, you become much easier for customers to choose. And that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. Not simply more visibility, not simply more traffic, but more trust. Now, let's talk about what actually works, because understanding the problem is important, but implementation is where results happen. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with many local businesses, and one thing became very clear. Most businesses claim and verify their Google business profile, and then they forget about it. They treat it like a business card. Set it up once, leave it alone. Hope for the best. The businesses that win don't do that. The businesses that win treat their Google business profile as a living market asset. They actively manage it, they engage with it, they improve it. They send signals to Google week after week, month after month, year after year. And those signals compound over time. So let me share an example. One local business came to us generating approximately $1,500 per month in sales. Now they had a Google business profile. They were technically showing up in search. They weren't getting meaningful results. The profile wasn't optimized. There was very little engagement, very few trust signals, and there was nothing encouraging prospects to choose them over competitors. We didn't rebuild their website. We didn't relaunch an expensive advertising campaign. Instead, we focused on transforming their Google business profile. We optimized it as if it were a high converting landing page. We improved trust signals, we improved engagement, and we improved visibility. Within a few months, monthly revenue increased dramatically. As we continued refining the profile and strengthening those signals, the growth continued. Eventually, that business reached $256,000 in revenue in a single month. Now, I realize those numbers sound unbelievable, but here's what made the difference: consistency. No tricks, no hacks, nor shortcuts, consistency. Another example: a concrete company in Indiana. The owner is one of those people who simply values relationship. We stay in close communication. We continually improve his online presence. And over time, his Google business profile became one of his strongest lead generation assets. We actually spoke just last week. And I know he always asks, "How did you find out about me?" And he said, "More and more people are saying they found me in Google search." What do these examples have in common is simple. They stopped treating their Google business profile like a listing and started treating it like a marketing platform. Now let's talk about reviews, because this is where many businesses misunderstand the opportunity. Most people think reviews are about getting more 5-star ratings. And yes, positive reviews matter. But there is much more happening behind the scenes. Google isn't just counting reviews. Google is measuring engagement. Google wants to know, are customers actively interacting with your business? Are they leaving feedback? Are you responding? Are conversations taking place? When businesses receive reviews consistently, Google notices. When businesses respond to reviews consistently, Google notices. When customers mention services, locations, and experiences, Google notices. All of these interactions create trust signals. One strategy we began using was helping businesses guide customers toward more detailed reviews. Instead of receiving reviews that simply say, "Great service" or "highly recommended," we encourage reviews that mention specific service, locations, and experiences. So the HVAC team repaired our air conditioning in Carmel quickly and professionally. Those details provide context for both Google and future customers. Then we respond to every review, not with generic responses, with thoughtful responses. Responses that reinforced important services and keywords naturally. The result has increased engagement and stronger visibility. But reviews are only one piece of the puzzle. The next piece is content. Many business owners don't realize they can post updates directly to their Google business profile. Think of it as a mini blog post, or a place to put announcements or promotions or updates, seasonal content, educational information, community involvement. The businesses that consistently publish helpful content create additional engagement opportunities. They remain active, they remain relevant, and they continue sending signals to Google that their business is alive and serving customers. Some businesses may only need 1 or 2 posts per week. Others benefit from posting more frequently. The important thing is consistency, because consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates visibility. Now, here's something interesting that we discovered. Many businesses work incredibly hard to reach the top position of Google Maps. But once they get there, they relax. They assume, "We've won," and they stop optimizing. They stop posting. They stop improving. that's where opportunity appears. Because while they're standing still, businesses that continue improving can catch up and eventually pass them. In other words, we often didn't beat competitors by doing something revolutionary. We beat them by continuing to do what they stopped doing. That's an important lesson for every business owner. Success isn't usually about one giant breakthrough. It's about consistent execution, week after week, month after month, year after year. Now, let's talk briefly about what I call the 7-step optimization. Well, every business is different. These are the major areas we focus on. First, profile optimization. Make sure every section of the profile is complete, accurate, and aligned with the services the business provides. Second, reviews. I cannot overemphasize reviews. Not only generating reviews, but creating a system for consistent review growth. Third, review responses. Responding strategically and professionally. Fourth, content. Regular posts, updates, promotion, and educational content. Fifth, photos and videos. Visual content helps build trust and engagement. 6, citations and consistency. Ensuring business information is consistent across the internet. And 7, engagement signals. Actions that encourage interaction between customers and the business. Together, these factors create a profile that not only looks trustworthy to customers, but also sends strong signals to Google. Now, here's something I want every business owner listening to understand. This isn't really about Google. It's about trust. Google is simply measuring trust. Customers are measuring trust. AI systems are measuring trust. The businesses that consistently demonstrate expertise, credibility, responsiveness, and customer satisfaction will continue winning. Whether someone finds them through Google, through AI search, through social media, or through a referral, trust remains the deciding factor. As we move into this new era of AI-powered search, I believe local businesses have an incredible opportunity. The businesses that adapt now will gain a significant advantage. The businesses that understand how customers' behavior is changing will position themselves ahead of competitors. And the businesses that treat their Google business profile as a strategic asset rather than an afterthought will continue generating more calls, more leads, and more customers. So let me leave you with 3 final takeaways. Number 1, your Google business profile is one of the most important pieces of digital real estate your business owns. Treat it accordingly. Number 2, customers choose businesses they trust. Your profile should be designed to build confidence and credibility. And number 3, AI search is not coming. It's already here. The businesses that learn how to become trusted sources of information today will be the businesses recommended tomorrow. So thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with another business owner who could benefit from it. And if you'd like help understanding how your Google business profile is performing, I would love to help you. I will have a link below so we can have a chat. Until next time, keep building your giants. This is Lois Wyant, and I will see you on the next episode of The Giant Builders.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.